Right now, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance is on Capitol Hill meeting with Republican senators to reassure and build support for President-elect Trump's most embattled cabinet nominee, Matt Gaetz, the president-elect's choice to take over the Justice Department. He's joining Vance for the private meetings, which comes as the House Ethics Committee will meet at any moment and may vote to release its report into the former Florida congressman. NewsNation's Joe Khalil live for us on Capitol Hill. So, Joe, we know it's a very busy day there in Washington. Let's start with Gaetz and this pressure campaign by the future VP.
Yeah, and we know that Matt Gaetz and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance have already met with several senators this morning, coming in and out. Our team has been there talking to some of them. A few of them that have come out said the meetings have been going well. Look, we know we've been talking to Republicans, both senators and others here, talking to them about how Matt Gaetz, in their view, does have an uphill climb to actually get confirmed if there is ultimately a vote here in the Senate. So they have their work cut out for them. So far, the senators that have come into that room, frankly, people like Mike Lee and Josh Hawley, are not necessarily the senators that Matt Gaetz is going to need to win over at this point. We know, again, there are very serious allegations against him at this point. I want to be clear, they are just allegations. But what you're seeing now is this concerted effort by those that are closer to Gaetz and to former President Trump, trying to exert a little bit of pressure now on maybe some who are on the fence to support Matt Gaetz. Let's take a look at what Senator Lindsey Graham said just this morning as he tweeted this out. He actually likened this to a lynching, in his words, saying that Matt Gaetz is not convicted of anything just yet, saying that he fears the process surrounding Gaetz' nomination is turning into an angry mob, unverified allegations being treated as if they are true. He says, I've seen this movie before, and then again cautions his fellow Republicans. We also got a chance to talk to Senator Tommy Tuberville this morning, who at this point says that he supports Matt Gaetz, but says it is possible that could change depending on what evidence comes out.
I'm fully supportive of him. I just say, make sure you're transparent. We don't need any things popping up.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not into rumors because I know how this place is.
Yeah.
They will ruin you in a heartbeat with rumors, but I'm all in with facts.
Yeah.
And if it's all factual, in terms of something that could be construed as criminal, then of course I won't vote for him. And he knows that.
So what he said there to me right at the end was that if something comes out that is proven, that may change his vote from a yes to a no. Now, I asked him and followed up whether that would be the House Ethics report. If there is evidence, if there are people testifying under oath confirming some of these allegations, and he said that he would need to hear more than hearsay. So, you know, there are a number of senators that, you know, potentially may be on the fence here. What we can tell you is that two things may be true at the same time, that Matt Gaetz very well does have an uphill climb. Again, there is a lot of opposition from Republicans he would need to support him. At the same time, you may see a very aggressive campaign exerted not just from J.D. Vance, who's here today, but from the former president himself, President-elect Donald Trump. And that clearly has sway and a lot of influence over a number of senators. The question is going to be if it is enough and what happens with Gaetz' nomination generally if and when this House Ethics report actually comes out.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.